Hello and welcome to another manga spotlight. This is Mash, Magic and Muscles, and this series is freaking amazing. I just recently discovered it, and I've been binge reading it anytime I have any free time. It's freaking amazing. It's currently in Weekly Shonen Jump. Came out in January of 2020, and the best way to describe it would be a comedic version of Harry Potter where the main character is a mix of Saitama from One Piece and Mob from Mob Psycho. So even the artwork is like an upgraded version of one's series. So yeah, this is freaking amazing series. I love it like hell. For this video, I'm not going to show any interiors, unfortunately, because one of the companies behind this is Shueisha. I don't know if I butchered that pronunciation, and if I did, I don't care because F that company. That company goes hardcore when it comes to copyright striking anything that even shows like a piece of their art. Like if I were to show a panel, they would probably copyright strike my entire video. They've done it before to me and with other previous series that I've done. So yeah, I'm just going to show just this one image. It's just going to be the promotional artwork. So we're just going to talk about the first few chapters. The only reason I'm going to do that is just to kind of give like the setup for what this series is going to be about. And hopefully that'll be enough for you guys to be interested enough to check it out yourself, which I highly recommend doing because it is amazing. We get like a brief introduction to this world. Basically in this world, this is a magic world where everyone who resides in this world is blessed with magic. So it's not like magic is only for certain people. Basically, everyone has magic. Everyone has different levels of magic. Some are stronger than others, but everybody uses magic, and everybody uses it for their own thing, whether they're cooking, cleaning, whatever. Magic is a daily use, except for our main character, Mash. Mash was born without the power to use magic, and instead he's focused his whole life into just getting stronger physically. So he's beefed up. Basically, he's Saitama. He's super OP when it comes to physical strength. And he also has a hardcore love for cream puffs, which plays a part later on. So then we have Regrow. Regrow is a 75-year-old man who discovered Mash one day and decided to raise him. So one day, while Regrow was kicked out of the Magic Academy himself, he came across a crying baby, and that was Mash, and he decided to raise him, especially when he realized that Mash doesn't have the mark. So basically, everyone who has magic has like a mark of some kind on their face, and Mash was born markless. As for Mash, other than his physical prowess, he has a very blunt, kind of deadpan personality. Pretty much picture Mob. In fact, other than the Mob hairstyle, he's pretty much Mob personality-wise with Saitama physical powers. That's like the best way to describe him. He's also kind of dumb or airheaded in the sense that like the very first time we see him after he's lifting a bunch of weights, he comes home and he breaks the door down because he doesn't remember if you have to open it by pushing it or pulling it, so he just breaks it down completely. And then when he tries to put the door back, he breaks it again because he's too strong. Anyways, his master tells him like, hey, I'm gonna step out for a bit. Whatever you do, don't go into the city. But Mash really loves cream puffs and he really wants some more cream puffs, so he's like, I'm sorry, but I can't ignore the call of an empty stomach. So he goes into the city where we see people cooking, bartending, using their magic. And Mob's just kind of like, couldn't they just all do this stuff by hand? Like, why is everyone just constantly relying on magic? So he goes and he buys some cream puffs, and when he tries to give money to the clerk, the coins are bent. So he accidentally crushed them in his excitement. So Mash has to basically uncrush the coins, and everyone like kind of notices that, and that's when they realize that he doesn't have a mark on his face. So everyone's basically like watching him. They're starting to kind of whisper and stuff like that, like, hey, this guy is markless. What's going on? As he's on his way back, he bumps into a police officer, kind of gets into a confrontation where the police officer thinks that Mash is being a punk when Mash is just being an airheaded, polite, but very blunt and deadpan kind of dude. And Mash rips this police officer's uniform off. And that's when we get Brad Coleman. And I'm like, all right, first off, that's an amazing name. That's like such a cool name, Brad Coleman. So yeah, Brad Coleman basically runs the police station. He's like a really important head honcho dude. And right as he's talking to Mash, Mash's sensei shows up, grabs Mash, and takes off with him. And Brad realizes, like, this is it. Like, I found a markless guy. We got to take him in. So, of course, Sensei starts berating Mash back at home. Mash goes outside to go do his exercises. And that's when Brad Coleman breaks down the door with some more police officers. And they basically start torturing the sensei. And they tell him, like, where is your magicless son? Like, we're here for the kid. Turn him over. And he refuses. He refuses to turn over his son and tells Mash to run. But instead, Mash just breaks through the wall, knocks out one of the police officers, rips off the other police officer's uniform. It's the same guy that he ripped off his uniform in the previous incident. And he just slaps the crap out of him and basically tells his sensei, like, I'm not going to abandon you because we're family and you're all I got. And Brad Coleman decides, all right, I'm gonna put him down. So he uses a magical spell that he used to defeat a dragon back in the day. And Mash just calmly smacks it down. And I wish I could show you the tears because the expression on Brad Coleman's face is freaking hilarious. Oh my god, the artwork in this series is so good when it comes to like just the comedy. Like the artwork itself isn't anything to write home about. It's basically an upgraded version of One. One is the creator of One Punch Man and Mob Psycho. And then, of course, when it comes to One Punch Man, it eventually got remade by another artist who is a lot better at drawing than One is. But not to knock on One, because I think he's freaking fantastic. His comedic timing is just so perfect. But that's basically what the artwork style here is. It's just a step up from One. In fact, that for a moment I thought it actually was One that did this. Because if you were to tell me that the writer for One Punch Man and Mob Psycho wrote this and drew it himself, I would believe you. Because that's 100% what it reminds me of. But yeah, the comedic expressions are just so freaking perfect. So anyways, Brad Coleman sends a stronger version of his spell. And once again, Mash just kind of calmly knocks it away. And then we get the same comedy expression. And then we see Brad Coleman, he shoots a bunch of them. And Mash basically starts playing volleyball with them. He starts grabbing them and juggling them. There's one scene where he's like dribbling them like soccer style. And everyone's just like watching him. He's like, and now he's using them to show off his sweet dribbling moves. He's making a fool of me. And Mash takes his sensei's wand, throws it, cuts Brad Coleman's face. And that's when he realizes, like, this guy is freaking incredible. Like, he's able to overpower me without any magic. So he decides, you know what? I'll make you a deal. We live in this country that's very religious. Once every year, a single exceptional student is revered as one of God's chosen. They call him the divine visionary. All you need to do is roll into magical school and become one. Like you need to go up the ranks until you become one of God's chosen, and then society will have no choice but to accept you. And at first it's like, this is impossible. How the hell is Mash going to be able to survive a magical school when he has no magic whatsoever? But Brad Coleman's like, you gotta do this. Otherwise, you're gonna spend your life being hunted like a dog. Like you and your father will never have peace. So Brad's like, all right, like we got a deal. Like I have to do this. Otherwise, we're always gonna be on the run. So yeah, he enrolls into magical school. Brad Coleman basically puts a scar on Mash's face to make it look like a magical marking so that people won't assume that he doesn't have magic. And yes, so he's enrolling. There's the tests and trials that you have to do before you can get into the school. And the teacher that's supervising all this notices that Mash kind of stands out from everybody. While everybody is polishing their wands or reading from magic spell books, Mash is pumping iron and reading a book on physical fitness. So he thinks, all right, this kid's just like a brat, whatever. This teacher, his name is Claude. He appears magic using his magic powers, and everyone's like impressed, except for Mash, who's just kind of like, you think you're hot stuff appearing out of a firestorm and all. And I'm like, all right, this is awesome. So the teacher, Claude, is like, all right, I'm definitely going to flunk this kid. All right, the first exam is to do a test. There's no chairs or seats. So Claude waves his wand, and all of a sudden, stone columns appear from out of the ground, and paper flies onto all these stone columns. And now it's like, all right, here's your test. And of course, Mash is like, why didn't he just set all this up before we got here? So once again, Mash is just constantly undercutting this guy, trying to show off. And of course, Claude gets pissed off. So then they have to, do this test. The test is actually somewhat easy. At least the questions are. The only problem is that the questions are constantly moving on the paper, and you have to dispel the magic that's on the paper so you can write down the answers. And of course, the students are having trouble. And Mash is like, all right, could you, kindly stop moving? And of course, Tess doesn't. So he takes his pen and he stabs it into the paper, and then he tells the paper to stop, and then the paper stops because the test itself is scared of him. And so he turns in the paper. He's the first one to do it, and he completes it perfectly. And then there's other tests that he does, and he uses his physical prowess to once again complete all the tests. So he's just using straight up muscles. So now we have the final test, and the final test is this giant maze that you have to get through, and you have a certain amount of time to get to the exit, and if you don't make it, you fail. There's also traps inside. So Mash is going through this maze when he comes across Lemon Irvine, and this cutish looking girl, and she basically comes across as very weak, and she's like, can we tag together? Like, I think it might be better if we stick together. He's like, all right, fine, whatever. And of course, like, she's so weak that she's like tripping over rocks. She's constantly getting accosted by like imps and things like that. She's like completely slowing him down. Mash is like, all right, like you're not making this easy for me. I just gotta go. So as Mash is taking off, she uses a spell to put cuffs on his hands and legs, and she admits, like, I'm sorry for deceiving you, but I was basically bribed to make sure that you don't pass this. Like, I'm sorry, but I had to do this. There's no use trying to escape because no human can break through those, binds. And of course, Mash breaks through them easily, and he takes off. And as he's gone, Lemon gets attacked by a giant sphinx who gives her a riddle, and basically tells him, like, you have to solve this riddle, otherwise I'm gonna kill you. The riddle is really easy. It's 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs in the afternoon, and 3 legs at night. And that's basically that's just a human being. 4 legs is when they're crawling as a baby. 2 legs is when they're walking as as they get older, and then 3 legs is when they're walking with the cane. But she doesn't know this, and she tries to use her magic, but it smacks her down and basically is going to kill her. When Mash shows up and punches it once in the face and kills it, and basically she's like, thank you for coming back for me. Like, why did you when I betrayed you? And he's like, your personal reasons might be like mine. I just felt bad for you. She's like, but because you came back for me, we're not gonna be able to make it. And he's like, no, like, we will. He basically takes her hand and he just smashes through the maze. So rather than going around the maze, he just basically smashes through all the walls until he gets to the exit. And then of course, all the other students call him a cheater, and that's when Lemon stands up for him and says, it's not his fault. The teacher basically bribed me. He told me to prevent him from reaching his goal. He said that if I did, he'd let me pass. My family's poor. I was desperate to get into the school for them. And this boy saved me, and he also said he would marry me. And then Mash is like, no, he didn't. And then we have like a flashback where during their miscommunication, I guess she thinks that he proposed to her and she accepted. So now she is Mash's self-proclaimed fiance. So yeah, Claude is like, I'm not gonna pass you. Like, I'm tired of this. Like, if you want to challenge me, you can, but I'm the the Magnus of this academy. There's no way you would dare to go against me. And then Mash just calmly walks up to him and breaks his wand. And that's when the master of this entire school, the headmaster, Master Wahlberg, yeah, he shows up, and he basically takes Mash into a room where he questions Mash, like, why do you want to do this? What's your goal? If you were put in certain situations, how would you react? And during this, he discovers that Mash is someone who is kind at heart. He's selfless. He's doing this for family. He's doing this for peace. He's willing to sacrifice himself to help others. Basically, all the answers that this teacher wants. And so the teacher immediately accepts him. So Mash has him officially made it into the school. And then, we just get stuff worse. Like, we have him in class, and he has to use magic to open up a lock. And he just breaks the lock with his power. We have another moment where he has to fly using a broom. But he has no magic. So not only can he not fly, but he can't even get the broom up to him. Like, the broom's on the floor, and you have to say fly, and the broom will, like, snap up to his hand. Kind of like, Jedi power. So instead, he stomps on the ground, which causes the broom to bounce up into his hand, and he says fly. And then later on, this other kid challenges him to a race on the broom, and Mash accepts the challenge. And right when the teacher says, on your mark, get set, go, Mash throws the broom. He sprints to it, jumps on the broom as it's still in the air, and then just kind of rides it until he hits the finish line. So it looks like he's flying, but he's not. He just threw the broom really hard, like a spear, and then he just ran at it and jumped on it, and now it looks like he's flying. And that's basically what we get. We get a series of Mash having to survive this school and everyone trying to slow him down, and not having any magical powers to solve any of the magical tests and things that he has to do. So instead, he has to just rely on his strength and muscles. And that's where the magic and muscles and the name comes from. So yeah, I'm going to kind of stop it here. That's just basically kind of like a brief overview of the first 3 chapters, a little bit of the 4th. But yeah, it's freaking hilarious. Mash is just this blunt, deadpan, kind of a himbo dude who, again, it's this personality is mob with the physical strength. Actually, I'll say his personality is mob meets Saitama with the strength of Saitama. He's freaking hilarious. Just his deadpan comedic jokes. Like, he's not even trying to be funny, but he just comes across really funny. The humor is great. And just, I love the fact that this kid is just using brute force to get his way through magic school because he has no magic powers whatsoever. So yeah, please check out Mash Magic and Muscles. It's freaking hilarious. And I hope this gets an anime soon. Since it's from Weekly Shonen Jump, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets an anime at some point. But definitely check out the manga. It's hilarious. You will not regret it. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Tell me what you think. And if you got any manga recommendations, let me know. Any comic recommendations, let me know. And yeah, I hope to see you next time. Take care, everyone. Later. So what'd you guys think of that video? I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe. Hit that bell for a notification. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And if you didn't enjoy the video, thank you for watching it this far. And I hope the next video is more to your liking. Feel free to check out the playlist that you guys see. And I hope to see you guys next time. Later.